So hello everyone. So I present a talk about the emerging transparent infrared organic photovoltaic devices for PIPV integration, status and challenges, and in particular the results of the Tech4Wind project. So first I do a little introduction on organic photovoltaic, and after I present the results of Tech4Wind consortium, and to finish some conclusions and perspectives. So first I present my structure. So I work at CA Ines in France. So we work from silicon materials to modules and system, and in my lab we work on silicon perovskite tandem cells and also on perovskites and organic solar cells. So first, what's the advantage of OPV modules? So the modules can be deposited by solution process at low temperature and on flexible substrate, and it is it's possible to print by roll-to-roll or salt die and to do large area modules. And the specific properties important as the flexibility, the color. It's possible to do semi-transparent cells and the customization. So it exists different BIPV achievements from some companies like Armor, Sunny, Eliatech, or Ubiquitous. So here you can see a different realization, like Armor do PV on agri photovoltaics, or Sunny they put some OPV modules on a shopping center. So for the results of Tech4Wind consortium, so the objective of the project is to create a window with UV cells and an infrared bottom cell with a distributed Bragg reflector. So the targeted of the project are an efficiency superior at 10% with a transparency superior at 60%. So we can see in the graph that the Tech4Wind objectives are very ambitious, and in terms of efficiency and transparency. So the technical approach of Tech4Wind project for the infrared solar cells is first the selection of the active layer in function of optical properties to achieve the minimum transparency superior at 60%. After that, the active layers selected are tested in non-transparent OPV cells. And after, we do the development and the optimization of transparent OPV, and to finish the development of modules and transfer to Armor. So first in the project, the advanced technology synthesized different polymers from three families, the WF3 families, the DPP-BDT families, and the X63 family. As we can see in the graph, the normalized absorbance of the DPP-BDT polymers is quite interesting because the absorbance is situated in the near infrared part. So for the Tech4Wind project, we decided to integrate these polymers in devices. So we do some different optimization with different layers and different materials. So the best organic solar cells are obtained with the X639 polymers and the ECO4F, the non-fluorine acceptor. So we optimize the thickness and the solvent for active layer. As we can see the graph, the best performances is obtained for thickness of 120 nanometer, and the transparency of the active layer is about 65%. So with all the best parameters, we obtained an efficiency of 4.7% with this polymer, but it is too low compared to the objective of Tech4Wind project. So we decide to use some commercial polymers. So the first one is the PTB70H, also named PC10, and another confidential commercial polymer. So we can see in the graph that the absorbance of these different polymers, and they absorb in near infrared parts, and the commercial polymer has the same absorption as the X639 polymer. So in the first time, we developed organic solar cells at lab scale, so with chlorinated solvent and different P-type layer. So we can see the best performances is obtained with the PTB70H polymer with an efficiency until 8.20% and a transparency of the active layer about 60%. But for the project, it's needed to do some industrial requirements, like use of non-chlorinated solvents, a P-transport layer deposited by solution process. The reproducibility is always important, the stability and the availability of materials. So when we do some devices with industrial requirements, we can see a drop of efficiency for the PTB70H polymer until 6%. And we can see with the confidential commercial polymer, the efficiency is comparable with industrial requirements and lab scale, and we obtain efficiency about 6%. The stability is always an important parameter, and that, as we can see in the graph, the commercial polymer had a quite good stability under Wentzel illumination, because after 2,000 hours, 70% of initial performance are kept. Nevertheless, with the PTB70H, after only 500 hours, 85% of initial efficiency are lost. So, with the consortium, we decide to choose the confidential polymer commercial for the development of the transparent solar cells. So, in literature, it exists different top transparent materials as conductive oxide, metallic materials, carbon-based materials, the conductive polymers, and the three-layer electrode as molybdenum oxide, silver molybdenum oxide. In the project, we decide to work with 4 or 5 types of transparent materials. So first, we decide to work with ITO, deposited by PVD, and we see the influence of power deposition and thickness. And the second one was silver, or molybdenum oxide, silver molybdenum oxide three-layer electrode deposited by thermal evaporation, and we see the influence of the thickness of the top MO3 molybdenum oxide layer. So, in the first graph, we can see we have a loss of 30% of efficiency between the plain silver, with the solar cell with the plain silver electrode compared to the transparent electrode. And if we detail the results with the different top electrodes, so ITO, silver, or two-layer electrode, we can see that the best performances is obtained with ITO, with performance until 4.8%. And we can see also that the molybdenum oxide allows us to increase a little the performance and a little the transparency. So except for one ITO top electrode, the transparency is always superior at 50%, and the PCE is around 4 to 5%. So in the project, in order to increase the performances, we decide to add a distributed reflector. So this DBR are designed by Techniker, and as we can see, it is adapted to the infrared solar cells developed in Tech4Wind. So we test 2 different configurations to integrate the distributed Bloom reflector. So the first one, the configuration A, the DBR are deposited on glass, and after this glass is just put on the top of infrared cells. And the second configuration, configuration B, consists to deposit directly the DBR on the top of organic solar cells. So if we can see the results, so there is not functional devices with configuration B, but with configuration A, we can see an increase of 5% of efficiency due to the increase of GST. So we can expect performances at 5% if we consider the best organic solar cells at OPAC at 4.78%. after, another try is to develop infrared transparent modules. So from cell to module, the process consists to deposit all the layers by Doppler blading. And after, we do 3 steps of laser patterning to design the modules. These techniques allow us to achieve a geometrical fill factor about 90% for an active surface of 80 centimeters square on samples of 25 centimeters squares. So in the project, for the moment, we developed only opaque modules with a confidential commercial polymer. We try we manufacture different modules with different active layer thickness, so 100 or 150 nanometer. And as we can see, the best efficiency is obtained for an active layer of 150 nanometer and an efficiency of 3.4%. So it's important to optimize the infrared opaque modules and to develop transparent infrared modules in adapting top transparent electrodes developed on cells. So to conclude, with the materials from the consortium, we achieved only an efficiency of 4.7%. So we decide to develop transparent infrared solar cells with a commercial polymer. And if we compare our results with the literature, we can see here in green the literature results with the PC-E10 or the PTB70H polymer. The efficiency is very high, and the transparency is about 40%. But as we can see, there is some stability issues with this polymer, and we don't use it in the project. So if we exclude this result, we can see that our results are comparable with those obtained in literature, and in particular with those obtained with the advanced polymer in the literature. And to finish, we can see we want to develop infrared modules and transparent modules. So thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Marina. Is there any question?
Just a very small one, if you agree. And okay, I've seen also on the chat one question. Marina, when you report the AVT, so you report only on the active layer, or it's the same question than, or you report on complete devices?
It depends. When I work in opaque structure, it's only active layer. But for the semi-transparent cells, here it's the active layer of all devices, of all the layers.
Okay.
Yes, I think the last data she's shown for the semi-transparent cells is for the whole device.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the question in the chat is from what name is about the color assessment of the IR modules. If we have the color assessment of the IR modules.
Sorry.
Yeah, maybe you can see it in the chat. Sorry for
yes.
my accent; it's also horrible.
Don't worry.
So the question is, do you have the color assessment of your IR modules?
No, for the moment, so the active layer is a little green.
Yeah.
So as we can see here, but for the modules, I don't know because it depends of top transparent materials, and for the moment, it's not defined. So it depends.
We don't see your slides, huh, Marina? But anyhow.
Okay.
But anyhow, yeah, I think you're right. I think there is a slightly green color of the cell. We are now measuring the color rendering index. Even the color rendering index is quite high. We are above the 70 value that we targeted in Tech4Win. It's still from window industry is not too bad because it's a slight greenish color. It's not yellowish. We have to. In this sense, we had more problems with the UV device. We need to correct the VCP because it gives some yellowish color. But we are working in cooperation with the simulation to modify the device to compensate for this slight color effect.